I'm Mike Lewis, and you're listening to MEI Radio, and I'm talking now with Derek Wyatt, the Labour MP for Sittingbourne and Sheppey, a former England Rugby International, a sports fanatic, and therefore appropriately chairman of the All Party Committee with responsibility for the London 2012 Olympics. Derek, do you think every member of your committee shares your enthusiasm for the Games?
Oh, I think they do, yeah. At the moment, of course, things are going well on the site, but it's sort of the lull. It's got to be ready, I think, in July 2011, and they have a sort of shadow Olympics to test all the facilities. And then everyone will get really, well, this is here, this is real.
It is very expensive. There have already been issues with the finances and worries about whether the private money can be brought in to build the media centre. So there are some financial issues, aren't there, going forwards?
There are. I mean, one is the land values, which were, at 2005. Well, 2005 won't be reached probably until 2015 now because of the recession. But I think the solution there is to take one of the big university colleges out, Imperial, UCL, King's, over 20 years, but to give them that site. And then that accommodation that's being built for the athletes can be used for students. If you then merge those with Metropolitan University in East London, you'd then have a really classy university of about 65,000 students. And boy, that would be doing things in the East End that we've never had before.
The legacy was one of the major planks of Seb Coe's presentation to the IOC, one of the major reasons we won the bid. Do you think that's on track to deliver what everybody is expecting it to deliver?
More or less, yeah. It's a very hard thing, legacy. If you remember Barcelona, of course they used an old football stadium. They didn't build a new stadium. But, before 1992, it was hell on earth driving round. There's no proper metro. And what they've done is concertinaed planning law in 35 years into 5. And that's exactly what we've done there. So if we hadn't had the Olympics, that would still be just the most appalling space in London. Whereas in fact it'll be a bit like Versailles. It'll be a sort of mini city. And that's very exciting. So for all those reasons, we've put the money in when we might never have ever had the money anyway. And if we had, we'd have done it in dribs and drabs. When you go to Stratford now, you just can't recognise it.
The Australians did a similar thing at Homebush outside of Sydney. It was a spectacularly successful Games, one of the most memorable of the last century, and yet it's been a problem ever since for them, hasn't it?
Well, there are two issues really. One is, why does the IOC continually insist on an opening and closing ceremony in a stadium, which is rather old-fashioned now? And that's why you have to have 80,000, just for the two things. Whereas when we celebrated the millennium, we had 300,000 people in the Mall. Well, imagine if you had a world party, so all of the cities that had Olympics had opening ceremonies together in a multimedia way. Wouldn't that be much more 21st century Olympics, and not this rather dull, boring routine that you have to go through? And the second thing is, like Manchester, you knew that Manchester City were going to get the stadium, and they dug out the athletics track. Here, we've made a commitment for athletics, but both rugby and soccer don't really want athletics. But the trick is to have one owner, and they're not going to do that, and I think that's a real problem. I would have gone to Saracens and said, you run it, but you've got to have football like Leyton Orient or, rugby league. You've got to have it, you've got to have the athletics, but you run it as a business, and you pay us a rent and a percentage of sales on, Coca-Cola and lunch and all those sorts of things. And if they don't do that, like Sydney, it will be a rod for each government's back for years to come. That is the one thing we haven't yet got right, and it's a shame West Ham don't want it. If West Ham don't go, I hope Saracens can be persuaded.
So 3 years to go. Some problems, obviously. There will be financial issues along the way. There will be other problems that come up. But basically, 3 years to go, and you're looking forward to London hosting the world to its Olympics.
I am. When my son texted me when I was in the house, he said, Dad, we've won. He said, can we go? And I said, yeah, we can go, but only if you're in the 100-metre final. So I wonder how many conversations there were across Britain with boys and girls where dads and mums say, we don't mind, but we want you in the team now. Because, again, it does make a difference hosting it. But no, it's only 3 years to go. Seems like an age, but it'll be here tomorrow, no doubt.
Derek Wyatt, thank you very much indeed.